So part two on human resources. This chart indicates some of the milestones that have been accomplished in the history of corporate diversity. In terms of African Americans, Asian Indians, women gaining significant positions within companies. As you can see that there are a number of CEOs that are both female, African American, and Asian Indian, and other Asians that are now in the higher corporate structures of American companies. So the labor force has been changing. There are less white people, more black people, more Asians, more other race groups, more Hispanics. So the diversity in many corporations is not just because they want to do the right thing, it's because they can't find enough qualified white males to fill those positions. So they've had to go out and seek women, people of color, to fill the positions to keep the company's human capital sufficient. So on a global scale, diversity challenges concerning progression of women into upper management positions. Europe has very complex social cultural systems. National cultures are intangible, persuasive, and difficult to comprehend. If you're operating on a global scale, you have to be able to function within the local culture. So today, diversity is defined broadly in terms of race, gender, age, lifestyle, disability. So individuals are quite different. We are each quite different from each other. So if you take all these obvious diversity terms, but yet you add in also people's different spiritual beliefs, the diversity increases. So traditional versus inclusive models of diversity. Traditionally, we considered age, race, gender, pay level, disability, lifestyle. Now we consider a lot more in terms of the diversity we want within the workforce. So, is there a benefit to having diversity in your workforce? Better use of talent, increased understanding of the marketplace, breadth of understanding, quality of teams, reduced costs associated with turnover, absenteeism, and layoffs. All right. So diversity works. Personal bias, prejudice, discrimination, prejudice. You have a particular belief. Discrimination is when you act on those prejudicial attitudes. Stereotyping is when they're rigid, exaggerated, or irrational beliefs, such as, for example, all Polish people are stupid. And this was a first impression when the Polish immigrants came here because the Polish language did not have articles. So when they would talk in English translation, they'd say, go car, get beef, and omit the articles. So it didn't sound correct. So people got the stereotype of this particular immigrant group not being intelligent because of the language problems. Stereotyping can be done in a number of different ways. Right? We can say one group is lazy, one group is hardworking, and often we generalize that entire stereotyping of a group on the basis of one person that we have met. Okay. Ethnocentrism. Your group or subculture is inherently superior to other groups. So then you don't value diversity. Organizations are trying to shift from a monoculture to pluralism. Ethnocentrism is another actual way of having prejudice. Factors affecting women's careers. There are advantages to hiring, retaining, promoting women. Men tend to have higher wages, faster promotions than women. This is just a reality at this current time. All right. Women have felt that there's a glass ceiling, an invisible barrier that exists for women and minorities that limit their upward mobility in organizations. Yeah, it's okay to promote Pam to assistant vice president, but we know that only men should be vice presidents. So women tend to voluntarily leave the workforce for various reasons. Excuse me. Marriage, pregnancy, motherhood. It could be a number of different reasons. Obligations to take care of parents, which are often seen as a woman's responsibility. But we find that women tend to succeed in the workplace because they often have the female advantage. More caring, greater concern, tend to have a culture in the workplace that is more supportive. Let's say, so when we talk about the woman's advantage, women tend to be more collaborative, less hierarchical, relationship-oriented, better able to deliver in terms of what modern society requires of people. So diversity initiatives, enhancing structures and policies, increased awareness of sexual harassment. So sexual harassment can have a number of problems. Okay. Okay, so that concludes the comments for this time. Most people don't realize that sexual harassment isn't necessarily putting your hands on someone, making unwelcome advances. Sexual harassment means establishing an uncomfortable workplace. If the workplace is uncomfortable, that can be considered sexual harassment. All right. And this is probably the one area that a lot of people don't understand. Right? Okay, end of part 2.